Y'all, I have shocking and 100% proof that ICE is out here hiring anybody. In some cases, without doing background checks, drug tests, they not even giving these people training. This is cold fucking red. Seriously, everybody should be worried. We don't know who's behind those masks. Apparently, they don't even know. And we got to talk about that. Before we get started, I want to take a second, ask everybody to subscribe to my YouTube page and sign up for my email list. Link is below. That's the best way to stay in the loop on all things politics with Steve. Now let's get back to it. All right, so I'm about to let y'all hear a story from a reporter that told MS Now about how she applied to be an ICE agent as a literal joke. Like, she was just fucking around and she assumed that it was no chance that they will follow up with her because if you just Googled her name, you will see that she's a journalist with strong anti-ICE, Trump ICE regime views. So she was just doing this for research purposes. Journalists do stuff like this all the time. But what happened after she applied is nuts. I'm gonna have to let y'all hear it from her.
Laura, your plan was never to become an ICE agent, but just to apply for the job. What stood out to you when you went to the ICE Career Expo in Texas?
The interview itself took about 6 minutes. I've been accused online a bit of lying by omission, and for that to have happened, they would have had to ask me more questions. They asked me questions like my name, my date of birth, how old I am. They took my resume, which was 100% accurate, and they said that I would hear back. I didn't expect to hear back because I have a very unique name, and the minute you type that name into any computer, it becomes immediately obvious that I'm not an ideal recruit. I'm a journalist. I am very clear online about how I feel about ICE, about how I feel about the Trump administration. So I didn't expect to hear back from them ever again.
So ultimately, when you heard back from them, what was it?
So I missed the initial email because I wasn't expecting it. Again, I expected them to Google me, and they didn't. A few days later, they sent a tentative job offer. And with that tentative job offer, they sent a bunch of paperwork that I would need to fill out for.
Bruh, they sent her a job offer. She said that she ignored the first correspondence from them, and they sent her a job offer.
For consideration. I would need to accept the tentative job offer. I needed to fill out paperwork saying I'd never been convicted of domestic violence. I needed to fill out paperwork for background check information. I needed to sign an affidavit that I could pass a PT test, all of this stuff. None of which I did because I didn't see it. And yet, apparently the application advanced anyway, because a couple weeks later, I got an email from LabCorp saying, hey, come and take a drug test for ICE. And I was pretty sure that wasn't going to work out well. Cannabis is legal in New York State, and I had partaken of it 6 days before their test date. But, why not? I went ahead and took the test anyway. And then 9 days after I took that test, because they're supposed to call you when you fail. So I was curious, like, did I somehow pass this test? So I logged into the ICE hiring portal and was shocked to find that the ICE hiring portal listed me as having a final offer, as having accepted that final offer, and as having a start date of September 30th, which was 3 days before I checked the portal.
Okay, so...
Bruh, that is insane. Like, she just said that... Bro, hold on. So much just happened. So first of all, she admitted that she should have failed the drug test. By the way, I think it's stupid that cannabis is still cause to fail a drug test. But regardless, she said she should have failed it. So they didn't even do a drug test. Bro, this is insane.
So that's different than what DHS says when they posted just now a response to your story on X. And they wrote this, quote, applicants may receive a tentative selection letter following their initial application and interview that is not a job offer. It just means they are invited to submit information for review. But what you're saying is, even though you ignored it, they were ready to hire you with a start date, whole thing?
Yep. No, this is, and I went ahead and quote tweeted and replied with a video of a screen capture of what I saw when I logged into that ICE portal. What I saw was a final job offer, a start date, and a little thing that said, welcome to ICE. They can try to hide this all they want, but this was not a tentative selection letter. This was a final offer and a start date for a role as a deportation officer.
All right, y'all. So that journalist that we just heard from, Laura, said that she tweeted about this and the DHS tried to tell her she was lying. So let's take a look at that. So here it is. She's talking about an article in which ICE hired me. Here that is. So DHS, y'all see the check. The official DHS Gov fact checker. This is such a lazy lie. The individual was never offered a job at ICE. When you go down, Elon Musk's Twitter had the fact checker. There's a community note. The author provided some video evidence of her ICE recruitment and hiring portal showing a tentative offer, final offer, and onboarding date. Let's take a look at some of her posts. All right, y'all. So she says, as a follow up to the original ICE article in which I talk about the DHS's response and why it's so ridiculous, bam, just dropped the facts on them. Like, so she literally just posted exactly what she said it was. So there you have it. She had an interview at a job fair and nothing else she did. Background checks, drug tests. ICE is out here arming people with absolutely no vetting. I mean, when you think about that, a lot of the murders that we witnessing on video is starting to make sense. Like, these guys look like they have no law enforcement training. That reminds me of something I heard from Joe Rogan about ICE being masked. I'm going to show y'all that real quick.
And now people are looking at them like murderous military people that are on the streets of our city, and they're masked up, which is also a problem, right? Because if you get arrested by a cop, you're allowed to ask the cop, what is your name and badge number? And you could film that cop. If you get arrested by an ICE agent, you have no such right. They're wearing a mask. They don't have to tell you shit. That's a problem. That's a problem on our city streets, right?
Now, look, he was speaking about them wearing masks in general because the idea of law enforcement wearing masks, they behave way differently. They feel like the people interacting with them don't really know who they are, will never really understand who the agent is, so they'll never really face any accountability. They just acting differently. Now, taking that a step further, this is way more dangerous because not only do we not know who they are because they masked up, we also don't even know the level of competency of the person under those masks. Like, this is insane. Kristi Noem is laughably incompetent. She's responsible for the DHS agents being, equipped, trained, understanding the mission and all of that stuff. And as we can see, none of that's happening. Every single person that is a part of the DHS or the federal government that is any way, shape, or form responsible for any part of this needs to be gone, fired, resigned, something. Like, they need to be impeached, to be honest with you. And especially Kristi Noem, because everything that's happening right now in Minnesota is because the DHS under her leadership can't fact check random losers like Nick Shirley, who made up a random lie about Somalian daycares. We cannot forget that started this whole federal invasion in Minnesota. But look, this ICE hiring story is so crazy. I almost couldn't believe it was real. Just imagine how many other people might have slipped through these cracks.